New video of a man's mental health crisis is prompting questions about the team brought in to help him. Colorado Springs team of crisis responders showed up to a man's mental health episode back in November. Minutes later, that man was unresponsive in handcuffs, pronounced dead at the hospital. His family has asked that we show you the body camera video. We want to warn you, if you choose to watch, you will see his last moments. Here's 9 News reporter Steve Steger.
Sir, have a seat. Have a seat. Have a seat.
Standing in the middle of a street not far from his home, it was clear a man needed help.
No!
Kevin Dismang may have been there, but his mind wasn't. His family,
he's my dad,
has seen that side of Kevin before.
Kevin and I were married for 37 years.
They know his struggles with both mental health,
a personality disorder, slight schizophrenia. He had a traumatic brain injury.
And drugs.
He had some mental health issues and some substance abuse issues, contributing to each other.
That day, a week before Thanksgiving, Linda Utzi's ex-husband called her in a panic.
He couldn't find his phone.
A panic that evolved.
He became manic, I guess.
He was just frantic about it.
He was frantic.
Their daughter, Kenda James, is a paramedic.
Kenda told me to call 911, so I did.
And gave her mom very specific instructions.
And I told her specifically to mention, you need a mental health check.
She wanted a crisis response team to come out. Here in Colorado Springs, that's a police officer, paramedic, and mental health clinician.
Sir, put your hands behind your back. Please. Put your hands behind your back.
Meant to calm down a situation, get someone help. This situation was far from calm.
We hear no efforts de-escalation from anybody.
On the body camera, he briefly runs from an officer trying to cuff him. When the officer catches up, another member of the team, a civilian paramedic, comes up. And that paramedic takes Dismang down, holding down his head and neck, while the officer gets the cuffs on. Pretty soon, a struggling Dismang goes limp.
All right. 7. 4.
He'd never wake up. An autopsy would rule his death was caused by multiple things: cardiopulmonary arrest in the setting of physical restraint, acute methamphetamine intoxication, and some pre-existing medical conditions.
It's unheard of where a individual would be allowed to engage in that type of physical contact, much less even being trained in physical combat. That is not the function of a CRT.
Ed Obayashi is a sheriff's deputy, an expert on use of force.
So the medic ends up taking him down to the ground over here. I handcuff him.
One of a few who told us today how odd it is for non-cops in a crisis response team to take someone down like that.
He is an official member, civilian member of this crisis response team. The whole purpose of a crisis response team is not to be in that situation.
A civilian paramedic.
Put him down. Dude, you arrested that boy.
Caught on blurred body camera again. It was sent to us this way by Colorado Springs PD. He's at the hospital as medical teams tried to resuscitate Dismang.
My first time taking somebody down with this job.
Talking about his takedown.
She's like, go help him restrain him. Yeah. I go to pull drugs out, and she's like, no, go help him. I was like, whoop, high school football.
Nice. Good form, homie. Good form.
Well, not so much.
Not so much.
There's a big failure.
Not for a family grieving. Still left to wonder what happened after their call for help.
You reach out to these
Professionals
for help, and we end up at the hospital with a dead relative.
So you've seen us report countless times about the dangers of extended prone restraint, keeping someone who's handcuffed face down on the ground. We should point out that in this video, the officer who handcuffs Dismang is very mindful about getting him off of his stomach as soon as he's handcuffed, which is what you're supposed to do. In a statement, Springs Police said tonight that members of their critical response team are highly trained, but, quote, can't control every factor involved in an altercation, including intoxication and underlying medical conditions. The DA in Colorado Springs is still looking at this use of force, Kyle.
You know, Steve, when you look at this case, here's another one where there's not necessarily malicious intent involved, but the whole point of having the crisis intervention team is to de-escalate things so that a mistake doesn't end up killing somebody.
Yeah, Ed Obayashi, who looked at this video for us today, says there are several moments where he just doesn't understand why de-escalation isn't used. From the very beginning, that officer is saying, put your hands behind your back, I need to handcuff you. They get him out of the danger area. They get him over to the trees. He says that's another opportunity to de-escalate the situation, try to calm things down. Instead, it ends like this.
Steve Steger, thank you.